The woman in the emerald dress suddenly ripped the serving tray from Nora's hands and flipped it straight into her face. Plates, vegetables, and a slice of cake crashed against Nora's white uniform and scattered across the marble floor. Nora stumbled backward, covered in food, her eyes filling with tears as laughter rose from the table. The woman looked at her without regret. "You're making everyone uncomfortable." Nora opened her mouth, but no words came. She lowered her eyes and reached for a plate with trembling fingers. Then the dining room doors opened. A tall man in a dark suit stepped inside and stopped. He had arrived for a business meeting, but his attention stayed on Nora. He said nothing. He simply looked at the woman in the emerald dress. If you want to know why one humiliating moment was about to change the future of an entire restaurant, stay with the story. 3 months earlier, Nora had believed life was finally becoming manageable. She had worked at the Belmont House for almost 2 years. The restaurant was elegant, but the job was steady, and steady was enough. Her father's repair shop had closed after years of declining business. Since then, Nora had quietly helped with the bills while taking every extra shift she could get. She hated asking for help. Even when the sole of her right shoe began separating, she used glue instead of buying a new pair. She joked when coworkers noticed, but privately, she was embarrassed. That afternoon, the Belmont House hosted a private luncheon for wealthy investors. Victor, the owner, had spent weeks preparing because one investment could determine whether the business survived. Among the guests was Elise, a wealthy businesswoman whose support could influence the entire deal. Elise noticed everything: the silverware, the flowers, and Nora's shoes. When Nora placed a plate in front of her, Elise looked down and gave a faint smile. "Do they really let staff come in like that?" Several guests glanced toward Nora's fate. Heat rushed into Nora's face. She apologized quietly, although she had done nothing wrong. Victor heard the remark and saw Nora's expression, but he said nothing. He was afraid of losing Elise's support. That fear had become his weakness. Elise soon found other reasons to criticize Nora. The water was too cold, the plate was too close, the table had not been cleared quickly enough. Nora endured it because she needed the job. Then Elise pushed her untouched plate toward the edge of the table. It fell. The crash silenced the nearest guests. Elise immediately looked at Nora. "You dropped it!" Nora stared at the broken plate. She knew she had not touched it. She almost defended herself, but remembered the bills waiting at home. She crouched down and began collecting the pieces. Victor watched uneasily. He wanted to intervene, but the investors were still discussing the numbers that could save his restaurant. Nobody moved to help Nora. The man near the doors had seen everything, but Nora was too focused on keeping her hands from shaking to notice him. Elise noticed him, however. Her expression changed for half a second. Then she looked back at Nora. Something in her eyes suggested that the humiliation was not over. Nora slowly stood and picked up another serving tray. She had no idea that the man near the door had not come there as an ordinary guest. The man near the doors was Ethan, the investor Victor had been waiting for all afternoon. Ethan walked toward the table. The room became quiet. Elise turned toward him, her confidence suddenly fading. Victor hurried forward and tried to explain that there had been a misunderstanding. Ethan raised a hand. His eyes returned to Nora. She was still beside the broken plates, trying to wipe food from her uniform with a napkin. He asked quietly whether she was all right. Nora nodded, even though her hands were trembling. "I'm fine." Ethan looked at Elise. Then he asked Victor one question. "Is this how your staff are treated when investors aren't watching?" Victor had no answer. Ethan had planned to approve a major investment that could keep the Belmont House open. Now he wanted to know what was happening behind the scenes. Elise accused Nora of creating unnecessary drama and claimed that employees who could not handle pressure did not belong in an expensive restaurant. Nora expected Ethan to defend her. Instead, he asked whether she had ever complained. She hesitated. Then she admitted that she had submitted 2 written complaints about employees being humiliated in front of guests. Both had disappeared from the internal system. Ethan ordered an independent review. 2 days later, the results arrived. Several complaints had been removed, and workers who reported problems had lost shifts. But the investigation revealed something neither Victor nor Ethan expected. Elise had not been controlling the system. Victor's operations manager had been protecting her. He believed wealthy customers were more valuable than employees, so he buried complaints before Victor could see them. Victor finally understood his own failure. Nobody wanted to bring him bad news. He dismissed the manager and removed Elise from the company's decisions. Then Victor turned to Nora. He apologized. Nora listened, but she did not immediately accept it. She quietly told him that an apology would mean little if another employee received the same treatment tomorrow. Victor agreed. Ethan offered to continue the investment, but only under strict conditions: an independent employee complaint system and protection for workers who reported mistreatment. Months later, the Belmont house reopened. Nora no longer worked every shift just to survive. Victor promoted her to guest relations coordinator after she helped design the new complaint system. One afternoon, she passed the same table where Elise had humiliated her. The memory still hurt. Ethan watched from across the room as Nora helped a nervous new employee prepare for her first shift. The investment had saved the restaurant, but Nora knew that was not the most important thing. The moment that changed her life was not when a powerful man noticed her. It was when someone finally refused to look away. If this story meant something to you, share it with someone who believes dignity should never depend on a person's job or income. And tell us, if you were Nora, would you have stayed silent to protect your job? Or spoken up even if it meant losing everything? Subscribe for more stories about courage, dignity, and second chances.